Hi, folks, and welcome to our Let's Talk Careers series here live on Facebook. Just to give you an idea what the series is about if you haven't been watching, we are doing interviews with a different person every week on their personal career choice and path to that career. So it's information for those thinking about getting into that type of career, or if you just want to know more about that type of career, just for information reasons, it's just to open up some dialogue and get to know this person personally. So today we have our guest, Ruth Greenspan. Thank you, Ruth, for agreeing to join us.
Welcome.
In this series. So I'll just go ahead and get started and just ask you, what do you do for a living, Ruth?
So I'm the executive director of the John Howard Society of Hamilton, Burlington, and area. And profession-wise, I'm a social worker. And so I can speak both from being an executive director, and I can also speak about being a social worker for the last 35 years.
Okay, and your role as executive director, how long has that been?
That's been going on to 4 years.
Okay, and what does that entail? What does that mean, an executive director? And tell us more about that.
So what that position entails is lots of different pieces, lots of moving parts. So I liaise with the board of directors and work with them, take direction from them around everything policy that's going on in the agency, everything from an HR perspective, the financial aspects of things, and also the program aspect. So I'm also connecting with the funding bodies, which are both government as well as non-government corporations, private donors, ensuring that the fiscal aspect of the organization is strong. We're part of an affiliation of 19 John Howards across the province. So working with them, looking at things to improve the life of people with barriers who are at risk or in conflict with the law. So, and then networking within the community as a part of other executive directors, other social service agency providers, just to provide the best quality services we can to the clients we serve.
And the John Howard Society is in the nonprofit world, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. And your to get to this position, did you decide to go into social work and it streamed into this position? How did that look?
So when I started in social work, and this was when I was living in Toronto, and that was in the 80s, I had done one of the things of social work that is amazing is you have placements.
Okay.
So they give you the opportunity to get to know an organization, to work within it, not for pay, but to volunteer. So at that point, I was with a place called St. Christopher House. And it worked with a wide variety of people, but I was working in a program with people who were living with homelessness, living with mental health issues, not being housed, very underhoused, or not housed at all. So that was where I first began my career. And I love that program. It was community development. It was doing all kinds of things from a community development perspective, as well as administration, as well as learning about the different populations. So every career that I chose after that, I think prepared me for the role now as the executive director. So it's been an accumulation of experiences and places.
So it's your education, and then you found the experience kind of drove your path to where you are now, kind of, you're saying?
It did. And for me, I learned from all the different people I worked with over the years, those people, and took a lot of time to listen to their stories and hear what they were saying. And that drove me to see where I felt there were gaps in the system, where I could best put my energies. And it hasn't been a direct line. It's really been depending on the situation and what's going on and where the opportunities are.
Mm-hmm. So there's a number of John Howard societies in in different cities. Is it in Canada or is it?
Correct. We have 19 in Ontario,
Mm-hmm.
and then I believe over 50 across the country. They're different and similar. So we in Hamilton deal with men and women in conflict or at risk of conflict. We deal with youth all the way up to seniors. Some specify more of an age group. Some are dealing just with those who've been federally incarcerated or provincially, all kinds of, it just depends on the organization. But for me, I've worked with many, many different populations with barriers across my time, and this organization encapsulates all of it.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. And you've been there 4 years, you said?
Correct.
4? Okay, awesome. So what would you say is the thing you like most about your job right now?
Well, and I think this also speaks to being a social worker, is there is such a variety of things you can be involved in. And there are so many different areas that you can learn and grow. And that is one of the things I like the most, both of my position and of my profession of choice. So, as I said, I began working with people who were living in homelessness, and that is something I'm still able to do. Mental health is the same issue. It's such a huge issue, and that's always been an area that I've been able to work, see where the gaps are, help increase my knowledge, help those people who are living with mental health issues. The other thing is when I began at St. Christopher House, everything there was from an anti-oppressive lens. So that has been an area I've continued. And within my agency, we have a diversity, equity, inclusivity committee. I'm working in the city with No Hate and the Hammer, which is trying to work on stopping hate within the city, within our organization, all across the country. So I think the variety is most important to me. And I'm also passionate about the client group we work with and ensuring that we are working towards ending systemic barriers and oppression for them.
That's awesome. Is there any advice that you could give somebody who is thinking about getting into this type of career? Like what kind of a best path scenario would be for them?
Yeah, I think for me, it would be to keep your options open. And that is something I have always tried to do. The other is never to stop learning. And in social work, you can always learn and pick up a course and look at different avenues. And I think that's another piece. And maybe the other is to look at your own self-care, because it is a profession where compassion fatigue comes in, which is the cost of doing business, and really making sure that your own self-care, both at the professional and the personal level, is paramount, because it's not easy work.
Yes, you can't help others if you're not doing well yourself. So
I use the story of when you get on an airplane, that you can't put someone else's oxygen mask on if yours isn't in place first, because then you don't have anything left to help the person beside you.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. Is there anything else that you want to share about the organization and about your path? Is there anything that you'd like to tell?
Yeah, I think the only other piece is that I really stress, I've done a lot of different jobs and careers within over the time. And to me, the most important way I've also learned is by listening to the people who I'm working with, whether that's the clients, whether that's staff, but really listening twice as much as I speak, because I think that's how you learn the most.
I agree. That's amazing. That's really good advice. That's really good advice. Okay. Well, thank you, Ruth, for giving us some of your time and letting us get to know your path and the John Howard Society as well. I know you wear other hats in the community, multiple hats, because I've met you. And thank you for everything that you're doing in the community and for helping those folks that that need the extra support. We appreciate it.
You're most welcome.
Okay, take care. And
take care.
Thank you so much for being a part of Let's Talk Careers. Thank you, Ruth.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye now.